freestyle rap at all?
Not yet.
Doesn't it appear to be extremely coincidental that you guys arrest people right outside of Governor Newsom's press conference? Is this really just a show of power?
Patriots, this is Secret Service Sam. Welcome to Samson's World. Sorry, Keenan, I was gonna, I guess, surprise everybody with you, but here you are face to face. Guys, this is Keenan Be Great. Keenan, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Oh man, that sounds really good. Hey, Silky Sweet, we just got some people coming in the comments. So Keenan, I had you on the show today because I loved your take that you had on the Bowen Yang Matt Rogers controversy. And you know, it was something that was so hilarious. It obviously all over TikTok, everybody was talking about it. The backlash was like instant against those two. I'll let you kind of give your take on it, and then we can kind of discuss. But what did you think about what he said about Jasmine Crockett? Or let me do this, but I'm sorry to cut you off. Before I do that, let's just play the video so anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about has an idea. Here you go.
Jasmine Crockett thing. She's not going to win a Senate seat in Texas, you guys. Like, if Beto O'Rourke couldn't do it, like, Jasmine Crockett is not going to do it. She is and it's nothing against her. It's just that she is a politician and that she is like, very well defined already. And I think it's my opinion that we are going to need someone who is less defined at this moment. Mm-hmm. That then rises up. Like, I'm interested in this Tallarico guy from Texas.
Oh, I don't know him.
I'm just interested in him. Okay. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I haven't seen him before. It would be hard for them to define him as anything other than what he is, which is like a rising Democratic politician from someplace like Texas, who is like, yes, speaking a little bit to the middle, but at least he's someone that, like, we can't define already. Okay. You know what I mean?
What in the LGBTQIA plus version?
Now, that was what Queen Phoebe had to say about it. I mean, there's so much to it, Keenan. I mean, just the whole, she's too defined. But what do you think about this?
I guess my first thing is, who asked you?
Yeah. like nobody. They're like,
nobody asked
the
you.
Podcast producers. Like, who are you voting for? I mean, and Bowen is so complacent in the whole thing too. I mean,
when I initially responded to it, I was more so responding to Matt, and that's kind of how I realized that Bowen is a bigger deal in this situation because he's more known.
Yeah.
But I was just, first of all, they live in LA, from what I understand. This is a Texas Senate race. And it's a matter of you telling someone not to donate to the campaign. And you know what it takes and what this moment means, or maybe you don't. And I think that was my bigger point in both of my videos that I did. You don't know what you're saying right now. You are completely tone deaf to even suggest that this woman should not get dollars. This is a black woman. And let's just call a spade a spade. This is a black woman. This is unprecedented. This doesn't happen
in Texas.
It's happening to someone.
Exactly.
It's happening to someone in a historic way who actually could win. Texas has been on the brink for the past few election cycles. We've been right there. And there's not a space for someone from LA with a platform to come in and say, oh no, vote for the guy that no one knows.
Right. And Keenan, are you in Texas?
I am a Texas-based, I'm a New York-based flight attendant, so I go back and forth.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
I'm in Texas, Houston specifically.
Oh, nice. I love Houston. Shout out to H-Town.
H-Town.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the funny part about it is he's so sure about it, but then so ill-informed.
Right.
Like I love, like, he's like, yeah, Jasmine is just too well-defined. And for a lot of people online, they were saying too well-defined sounds like she's too well-defined that they've already defined her as a loud black woman who they believe because she has a law degree that she's not allowed to talk a certain way. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I think people have defined, as he's saying, Jasmine Crockett, but that's what we need is well defined. And the irony is that the James Tellerico, whatever, that guy, I like him a lot. He makes a lot of sense. I'm aware of him, but this whole thing, but I'm just interested in him. And it's so crazy how if I have a choice about something, they're like, well, Sam, this guy, this woman is very well defined. Like, we know exactly what she stands for, which is Jasmine Crockett. She is brilliant. She is brave. She takes it. What I like about her is she just talks like we're at the kitchen table, but she's talking to these old white racist men, just like y'all can, kick rocks. And so she's well defined, but then you're just interested in somebody else, and that supersedes, like, so to me as a white guy, it just even felt like there was just a lot of racial undertones, and there's some irony, I think, in the LGBT community that just because you're gay and you're white, that means that I couldn't be racist, or like they go on to talk about the Brooklyn Queens, or like, and that's where I think Bowen kind of comes into this shit, is like Bowen's proximity is to whiteness. You know what I mean? Like, for all intents and purposes, to me, he's acting like another overprivileged white dude, by just agreeing to this shit. But
yeah, I don't understand where the agreement came from, and it was so quick and in the moment, and it got him in all this trouble, right? And I keep seeing this thing trending in terms of Bowen, tokens get spent, and I personally, I think that's what I said in my video is, Bowen's gonna learn a lesson.
Yeah.
You cannot do what they do. And by they, the mainstream white gay, like, you can't do that. And you have more to lose. Matt is gonna be fine. He is not as popular. He's not gonna lose much, because people that come from or think like him are even asking me in response to some of my videos, well, what's the big deal? I'm still lost. You guys are making a big deal about this when it's like, we have to get to a certain point where we allow the defined Black woman or Black person or a person who is not the status quo to go there. Like you said, Jasmine looked at these old racist guys in their face, and she calls them out.
Right.
There's the performative politics, that's done. It's done. It has gotten us. We haven't gotten anywhere. And I could go into what's happening now as to why it's happening. And I think a lot of the performance and being polished and all of these things are why the reins aren't being pulled.
Right.
And you need someone that's ready to go in there and wreak havoc. Like, no, we're gonna wake this up.
Right.
This is going on. This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're not gonna do. Because at the end of the day, the fight is for the American people, is it not?
Right. Exactly. And what I think is kind of interesting, which I kind of pointed out in my video and some other people did, is how gay men sometimes kind of take on the personality of a Black man or a Black woman.
I've seen such things.
Am I making this up? I mean, I know I'm not making it up, because I see the guys. They're like, Matt does it. He rolls his neck. He's like, they do girl. They call each other, and it's almost this appropriation instead of appreciation. And they're acting as though they have the struggle of a Black female, right? But they're gay white men. You know what I mean? And I think that's what hit me hardest on that of their take was like, there's only one Jasmine Crockett. How can you not support her? How can you be gay and not realize that civil rights led the way for your rights? You know what I mean? And even gay rights, gay white men's rights almost supersede Black rights. That gets moved to the top of the table because at the end of the day, they are still white.
Yeah, there's definitely a world in which, in the gay world, there's mainstream gay, right? And that mainstream more so caters to the white faces. Yeah. And then you have your subcultures, and you have your Black gays, your Latino gays, you can break it off into your little subcategories, your twinks, your bears, you can break it all that. But at the end of the day, the pride movement, the flags and the commercials and all of the glitz and the glam, that is more so coming from the eyes of the white gays, or what is acceptable for a gay man to be.
Yeah.
And often that does not look like the people that are in the neighborhoods, that are on the streets, that are in regular communities. It's the polished version that is on Robinson Drive or Santa Monica Drive in West Hollywood.
Right.
That is, and that voice is speaking for the nation.
Yeah, literally.
And maybe not just for the nation, because I feel like American pride pushes around the globe. So it's
you're right.
And I think that's what really pissed me off about that situation and a lot of other similar situations is you guys get to be the voice, and this is how you're using that voice.
Right. To put down a black voice and say, and even further to not donate to her campaign. Like, and he was like, guys, you know, if Beto O'Rourke couldn't do it, which a lot of people took it, him saying,
I took that. That was let me tell you something. That loss hurt. That when Beto,
I love Beto.
He got close, and everybody hates Ted Cruz. We all do.
Yeah.
It's understood. So this is not an easy fight to win. And to say just because Beto couldn't do it, all of a sudden she can't?
Right.
Okay. I mean, one could argue she's a little bit more popular than Beto.
Oh my God, way more popular, right? I mean, Beto O'Rourke is still, he kind of, you know, he's almost like a band in the 90s, you know, like Samples or some kind of college band that a lot of people knew about. I mean, but Jasmine Crockett, especially on TikTok, on social media, we haven't really seen shit from Beto O'Rourke. The last time I saw him, he was yelling at, Greg Abbott or something. But Jasmine Crockett, we see her all the time. Like, okay, so y'all think you're cute. You know, she's just always like going. I love it.
And is that what we meant by too defined? She's too loud. That's because I feel like that's what I heard. She's too loud. She's too in the pocket. She's too much. That's what I think I heard.
I think so too. And what do you think? I mean, as a black man, when people say, because we know, like, they call her ghetto, they call her all kind of thing, and then just this thought process that because we let like our hillbilly, like, hey man, how y'all doing? I went to Harvard. Y'all don't think I'm smart just because I talk like that. You know, we let our hillbillies get away with it and stuff. But what do you think it is that we think black women can't be both, in a sense, can't be from their neighborhood, talk kind of a little, you know, because I think what a lot of white people don't understand is black people have to assimilate every day into white culture. So they're speaking, more white culture in some cases to get the job, to not ruffle feathers, you know, to not, you know, I've realized a lot of white people don't realize they're always in safe spaces.
How much of a performance that
exactly. But I'm a white guy, so I don't want to be like, oh, you know, I'd like to hear your experience.
I
what do you think about that?
Great question. That it is something that I feel like black people have to do without even realizing that we do it. It's coming off. I'll tell you some of my experiences, just random things. Like if I go into a store, if I walk out without having bought anything, that's something that goes through my mind. Not to say that it's you know, I do anything just, but it's something that I think about as I'm leaving that store. I don't think white people I don't think they think about that.
No, I don't think about that much. And you're saying that when you leave the store without buying something, that the person is maybe assuming that you've stolen something.
Right.
Or that,
Exactly.
No, I don't feel like that. I'll feel like, you know, maybe for a tad bit when I have my hand in my pockets, I'll go in a convenience store and sometimes I might just not buy anything. And I'm like, hands in the pockets, but they know I could have stolen something, but the way I look really affords me a lot of leniency, you know, and I think a lot of white people think, oh, you know, Sam, that, but it's just like by admitting that and saying it and understanding it, it doesn't take that away. The white privilege doesn't go away from me. It's just understanding that in your experience, you just said leaving a store. I think that's a perfect example Where a lot of white people, I walk out of the store all the time, don't buy stuff. What do you mean?
Right.
And they don't think because somebody's looking at you as if you might have stolen something for just coming in and not and just browsing, you know?
Right. And I think that that phrase white privilege, it makes a lot of white people uncomfortable. And I think people think too far into it. Something that simple is a privilege.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about that.
Right.
You don't have to. You don't have it's not something. There have been a number of times where I've been followed in stores and come later found out. I've had at least 2 instances where store employees have come and told me, "Hey, they're watching you."
What?
They are 2.
Wow.
Yes. It so it leads me to believe, well, how many other times has this happened?
That you're not aware of.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and
Yeah.
I am probably with my headphones on, more than likely I'm twirling through the aisles. Like it's not even something that is going off in my head to pickpocket anything. Matter of fact, I actually remember
Of course
a
not.
time during the pandemic, I was working at a grocery store, and there was this white lady, like not emo, like more like punkish, like tinted hair, like just like hipster is the word I'm looking for, hipster type chick. And she is like just in the aisles, just going. Nobody paid attention to this woman.
Of course.
Nobody. But she is she's sneaky, but it's
But it's
right
pretty blatant.
here.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think in terms of like I just not to be repetitive, but privilege is something that doesn't have to go far. It can be right within your realm of things, of your everyday things. Yeah.
And it's funny how upset people get when you say it. Somebody in the comments saying it makes me uncomfortable. White privilege doesn't mean white people have everything they want. See, this is important why I love this dialogue, because I understand I'm a unique white person who understands that you can say that there's white privilege. It's very real in America. I experience it all the time. And that doesn't take away from my experience. It just lets people like, Keenan, that I understand that there is a difference. But what's interesting is a lot of people, and this is the message I try to educate people on, white people. And this guy is a perfect, example. It makes me uncomfortable. White privilege doesn't mean white people have everything they want. White privilege is just a racial slur that black people pretend that there's no poor white people. And so I think this is such an interesting thing, because like I remember Theo Von made a joke. It's like, I'm poor. And what he's not I won't say what you're not understanding, go chuck yourself, but it's just like you getting pulled over is always going to be an easier experience in America. Or white privilege, saying you have white privilege doesn't mean white people have everything that's great. It's just for that little instance we just mentioned of leaving the store, that most white people don't get followed around a store when they come inside. And so I don't know, Keenan, how do you explain it to people? I
always think it's simple. I'm a numbers, I'm a pattern. I'm a guy. The numbers don't lie. We can look into this. I don't have a way to share screen and things like that. But if we're gonna compare the white guy getting pulled over to the black guy, let's look at the numbers. Yeah. Let's look at the numbers and how often that one experience ends positively versus the other. Exactly. Like these things are on record. I don't have to convince you. Don't have to take my word for this. Is not an opinion. This is fact. These are facts. These are documented. These are documented situations. And so that's I've had especially being from Texas, I've had these conversations. It's
so funny that white people hold so tightly to this. What I don't understand is, this guy's saying he's been followed in stores. I'm not black, and black people discuss that like poor. It's this whole thing. Well, I'm a poor white person. I don't have white privilege. That doesn't, just because you're a poor white person doesn't mean, oh, you have everything. We understand a lot of people are hurting out there of all cultures. But the point is in America, you can be poor and get the benefit of the doubt. But I believe in America, you can be black and still not get the benefit of the doubt. You might be in your Bentley and a cop pulls you over and say, is this your car? Where when I get pulled over in my Bentley, they're like, oh, how you doing today, Mr. Crouppen?
It happens all the time. And I think that a lot of people pretend not to see things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially now with this Minneapolis shooting. We all see that video.
Absolutely. See, I wasn't going to go there. But since we're here.
Look, I've got, part of my show was also about to talk about that too. But, I love our conversation. So,
Yeah. And I, like, for instance, I woke up and I saw some clips of Rogan. Reversing his endorsement or some of these guys. And it's like, no, these things were laid out before we got here. These things were laid out, and you chose to pull a wool over your eyes. Everything that you are seeing, people have told you,
right,
was going to happen, and they told you it was going to happen because there are people who have seen it happen before,
right?
And so you chose to not see and not engage and go another route for whatever reason.
Literally, when it was sitting right in front of him, he was interviewing
right there. It was an open book test. So there are definitely people that pull wool over their eyes and want to reverse course. Now you can't do that.
Right.
What you can do is own your part and be better. But as far as going backwards and pretending, oh, this didn't happen, or I didn't know this was going to happen. Yes, you did.
Right.
Yes, you did.
Right. Exactly. And that's the part that bugs me the most about Joe Rogan is like, dude, you knew this and you got elected. You know what I mean? Hold on. Chucks, how are you? Aren't you out of school, Charlie? Do I need to come get you? Are you out already? My son's like, hey, Dad, it's Charlie. Here's something also. This guy's saying you people are nuts. And here, this guy doesn't even realize this is kind of a racy comment. You people are nuts. I assume if I see a bunch of gangbangers following my kid into the bathroom, there will be trouble. Okay. I think we could all agree on that. But my question is, what color are these gangbangers you're imagining?
And what makes you identify them as gangbangers?
Exactly. And I think those are two valid questions, Glenn W111, to ask yourself. You've entered an adult conversation. We all agree if I'm going to a bathroom, and I mean, when does this ever happen? I live in Los Angeles. Okay. I've never had a group of gangbangers follow me after my kid. And I would imagine, if anybody's kid's going to the bathroom, there's a bunch of weird dudes following in. I'm sure you'd defend your kid. But the two questions are, why are you saying a bunch of gangbangers? I kind of know what you're saying. You're saying black people are gangbangers. Mm-hmm. White people are gangbangers. It's just so... But I think this is a thing. This is the adult conversation we need to have in America is like, people have to they're so scared of these stereotypes of like, dude, where do you even live you probably don't even live in a place where there is gangbangers, but you're scared of this idea, Yeah.
And I do think there's a piece of it that comes from, I'm not one of them. I'm not one of those people that would allow this, or I would treat you, or that.
Sure.
People have a hard time, especially. I definitely feel like we're in a time where identity politics are like heavy. Everyone and everyone's kind of like them, not us, them, not me, them, not me.
It's like gangs. Literally gangs. Like I tell people every day, I'm like, I'm not left, I'm not right, I'm just right versus wrong. Like we need to drop this red and blue identity politics. This whole thing where people are like, it's just a president's just a president, it's this idolization is led to where we are right now.
Absolutely. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And it doesn't really get any simpler. It's just that.
I guess it does because people's idea of what's right and wrong.
That is true.
That's the hard part, is with this shooting, some people actually believe it was right for that ICE officer to kill this woman, even though all the video shows that, well, he didn't get hit. He didn't die. You know what I mean? If the guy got ran over shooting her and he's in the hospital and critical, it'd probably be a different situation, right?
Well, I think a lot of people, especially, are not as privy to how messaging can be framed.
Yeah, or
and
they don't understand the messaging is being framed to
how
them.
they can fall victim
Yeah.
to inappropriate framing, for lack of better words.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people love to say the media,
Sure.
and yes, absolutely, absolutely, media has a huge responsibility in how we see things and how we respond to things. However, in this situation, there was an on the ground video that showed exactly what happened. So you don't get to then tune into whatever your respective news cycle is, your news channel is, and then
Right.
take their word for what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it. There's no other way about it.
But there is, that's what's crazy is we all saw it, but there's still, I mean, even people in the comments, this guy, God bless the men and women of ICE and protect them from these retards. Who are you talking about? From Americans, from American citizens? Like, see, here's what I think is so crazy. And most of these like hillbilly MAGA wannabes is like, they all acted like they were First Amendment, Second Amendment, patriots. That's why I say patriots, because I'm rebranding it. You know what I mean? Because all these guys act like they're patriots, but when it comes down to it, they don't care about American values and the United States and our Constitution. They just care in like white supremacy, and they feel like this is their time to get over and everything. Like Trump's talking about no more elections. Like, could you imagine if Joe Biden was joking about no more elections?
No,
Bill Clinton, Obama, Bush.
It wouldn't have happened.
He'd be dead.
It wouldn't have happened.
The way they can rewrite January 5th as though it was just this little, I mean, when you watch videos, you're like, I don't know, like what world are we, so like I said, it's hard to define what's right and wrong because you and I think we know, but then see some of the people in the comments. They're saying the ICE agent has internal bleeding, but that's literally just bruises. I don't know, maybe he had his menstrual cycle. I mean, the only thing, sorry, no, women are much better than that. Yeah, even if he has internal bleeding, release the C scan or whatever it's called. It just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know why people are so divided on this and they support ICE like this.
I think people support it because they've been told to support it. I think we just spoke about this messaging.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that messaging can land in certain people, especially if you already think that way. And I think that's a big part of how we got here.
Mm-hmm.
I have always felt as though the person that is running the White House right now has very little agreement with the crew that he is leading.
Yeah.
However, they were easy.
Yeah.
They were very easy.
And
and I think that every day, dog whistles are thrown, dog bones are thrown to rile them up, to make them feel like what they're seeing is in agreement to what they felt like should have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you're seeing in your comments.
Yeah.
And you can't win that.
No, you can't bring, people can come to the table, but you realize no matter what, as crazy as you might think somebody is, like you have a family member, you're like, oh, they, or a friend, somebody who's a friend and they just crossed you and they think you're just as crazy as you think they are, or they think you're just as wrong as we think they're, and so how do you come together? ICE agents have the best tasting boots. You should try licking them yourself. I mean, it's just, these are kind of funny. There's like little YouTube trolls and stuff, but it's so interesting too. All these trolls every day, like, Sam, you're gay. You're you're a libtard and all this. And I sit here and tell them like, what, I mean, I'm straight, I'm married, 3 children, but why would it be, what is wrong if I'm gay? It's funny how that's even a slur, like to these trolls.
How does that
and what's so funny is like, they're all in the closet. Anytime somebody's like, you're gay, Sam, I'm like, oh, you're really gay and you just can't be okay with yourself and come out, like, that's not a slur to me. You know what I mean? But it's so funny. I wrote it down yesterday. They either call me a libtard, they call me retarded, which we had that already. They call me gay. They say, where's your boyfriend? Your voice is annoying. You have an ugly face. Oh, this was a good one. you're in your mom's basement. I tried being a Dem, but my head couldn't fit up my ass. So I just love it. So what I try to do, I write down.
Good. That was good.
You know, I'm like Eminem at the end of 8 Mile. Remember, he's like, okay, I know what you guys are gonna fucking say about me, so I'm gonna rap about it and tell all my shit. And so now what? You know, and I think that's the way to deal with like some of these trolls is like, okay, get all your name calling out, say what you'd like to say, but then now let's have a real conversation.
Right. All that to say what?
All that to say what? What? Okay. Right. When I didn't call you one name, I don't care. I don't call people like you Republican, you done like that's I'm not. It's so people are
there's no benefit.
Man, they're really immature. They are really losing it here.
And honestly, some people just like to tussle. And that's okay too. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. But I think in spaces of being a commenter or a podcast host, you have to know that, and sometimes you just got to tussle. You want to tussle?
You got to tussle. That is right. Yeah, and not everybody's gonna like you. You know, a matter of fact, the haters like you more than the people who actually love to listen to you. That's the odd part. People hate what I'm saying. White people hate when I talk about white privilege. You know, that like. I even hate that white people have stolen the word woke. You know, I say this all the time. It's like woke to me was, you know, my black friends would say, Sam, you're woke. You know what I mean? You get it. You know, Sam, you're aware of atrocity. When did being awake and aware become a negative? You know, and the problem is
one thing that I will always give to this current administration is they are goats of marketing.
They are messaging.
How did you do that? How did you do that? You hijacked a word that was prolific and black through the 70s up to the 80s to the 90s. I was having woke conversations and arguments right before he entered the ring, and then all of a sudden it became a demonized word. And you're not supposed to be that. It's like, how did you do that? That is. Yeah, but it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. But when we ask about how does the base stay continued and stay engaged, they are the goats at marketing. They are the goats at messaging.
They really are. They know because they know like everything these guys call me in the comments, like they're scared of gay people, trans people. So we know let's threaten them with that. Your bathrooms are being invaded by gang members. Like, you know, the thing I find, I live in Los Angeles. So like, you know, you can't help but not have Latino friends, family.
Right.
It's, you know, every single day. So, and I find that's a problem with humans is, you know, we watch 5 o'clock news every night. Somebody gets shot. We don't give a shit. Flip the channel. But if that was our brother or a sister or somebody we knew, we'd be like, oh, devastated.
Right.
You know, but I think that's the human flaw is we don't care. It's like this whole ICE thing. All these people, I love ICE. I love. Yeah, but if it actually came to your front step and somebody is at like, what's funny, I'll tell people like, you really want somebody to walk up to you and say, are you from this country? Let me see papers. Like Joe Rogan is just finally saying that's Gestapo shit. But it's late. It's too late, Joe Rogan.
Too late. Like
Joe Rogan needs to
said it at this point, and like, it's not going to change. When you had the opportunity to divert it from happening, you did it.
Yeah.
So it means nothing to say it while it's going to continue. Like it's
exactly. This is I love. Thank you, Rick. Woke is a term that was used during civil rights. It basically means being aware of racism and discrimination. Now, I see how white people took it because what happens is you have white liberal people who put a Black Lives Matter poster up in their front yard, but they don't actually have black people at their homes. They have black coworkers and they think that's good enough. Now, to those white people, great, you know, that's good, but you have to do more. You have to have more relations because you're the white people they're talking about. You know, it's the people are like, oh, this and they bitch and they this and this. But when it comes down to it, they're kind of just as racist as some of these people on the other side are.
Absolutely.
You know, they think,
absolutely.
I mean, that's the thing about Democrats. They act like, oh, they're not racist. They're not racist. A lot of people in the comments point out the KKK started during the, you know, Democrats and stuff. But it's this idea that you can be a white liberal and I'm not racist because you say it. But
do you remember
your
a few years ago, Sorry to cut you off, but a few years
No,
ago,
you're fine.
was the guy in Central Park bird watching. And
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
yes,
Yep.
he was
Central Park
not-
Karen. I do a
Yes.
Karen song. Yeah.
Yes. And they the internet did what the internet does, and
Yep.
they found all her information, and she was one of those Black Lives Matter.
Yo, really? I
flag,
didn't know that. I don't have. Dude, I say it all the time. Karens are always racist. I don't have a racist bone in my body. Oh my God, I have a black coworker named Dwayne, and I mean, I couldn't be racist. You know,
right? But
I always do that. That's so funny. I didn't know. Just so that,
clutch the pearl. Because if you ask me, I think the real Second Amendment, they'll just grab what they need. But it's the ones that'll pretend to be so friendly and so loving that'll clutch their purse and lock their doors when you walk by. Like, no, like if you're for all, you're for everyone,
right?
You know where I'm
It's
going.
so
If you're
funny.
for all,
God,
like,
and she was like, yeah, she was. I mean, like called the police on a guy who was just bird watching in Central Park. You're like, oh my God.
right?
I'm not racist. Black people need old white broads to tell them how to act. Okay. I love when people say they're not racist and then make kind of a racist thing. I don't even know, man. No, you know what we need is education. We need every school in America to look the same. They all have to be beautiful, beautiful buildings, brand new textbooks for every single neighborhood in our country.
Education.
Because there's so many uneducated people. Fleshlight. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Hold on. Just because you say doesn't mean it's true. Okay, you're just some idiot on some podcast and you think you know what you're doing. That it's everything you say holds absolutely nothing. Thank you so much for that positive. And then we got another fleshlights in your asshole. Damn. See, I think that's like deflecting, and I feel like that's what cannon fodder bacon really wants. It's so weird. Cannon fodder bacon must be a small human with something micro, just saying. That's generally it. You either closeted and you can't come out, or you have a micro penis and you're angry, and I don't blame you. I'd be very pissed if I had a micro penis. This is hilarious. This has been great though, Keenan. I love this conversation we're having because, I think it's important we have these conversations, and especially I think it's important, like people like this. Like, I would love to see these people like, come on, I'll give you guys a link. All liberals are racist. And see, this is what I love. This is my favorite. All liberals are racist. They started the KKK. They owned all the slaves in the South. They started Jim Crow. So if you're a liberal and you're gay or you're black, you're what they call a useful idiot. So this is what I think is interesting. Guys, I'm not Democrat. I'm not left or right, but I do like that you're looking in. So if all liberals are racist, it's just like, again, like these people are it's hard to get through.
My question would be, if all liberals are racist, are all conservatives not racist?
That's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. It's like this name game also in politics. I'm so tired of hearing people like, it's the Democrats' fault. It's the Republicans. Like, could you imagine like in life, if like you're with, your significant other and you just blame them for everything? Like you couldn't operate.
Let's look at it like this. Okay, we've been a two-party system for the historically most of this country, correct?
Yeah.
And yet we're still here. So I think that would suggest that it's both of them. So the blame game is irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly. It's both of them. Republicans and Democrats it's us versus them. And here's somebody, this is interesting. I live in the UK, and the thought of the police shooting a person for driving away is wrong and dumb. And I think this is great. Thank you, Douglas, because a lot of these trolls in the comments, like, they don't plan on leaving America. They don't even plan on leaving their block. Like, that's what's so sad about Americans is like a lot of these people have to go to Italy, to go to Europe, and they don't go there and then actually hear what people think of us. So like they stay in this bubble, like you were saying, this narrative, this echo chamber, where, you have to get out and experience different people, different cultures. And, or else you have no clue that people in the UK think we're crazy for this shit. Of course they do.
Yeah, I've heard a number of things. I think the World Cup is supposed to be coming, and I think the last number I saw was 16,000 people canceled their tickets.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean the World Cup. I mean everything, man. Nobody wants to come here to this shit.
It's a little scary.
Could you imagine? That's what's so funny about us. We're always like, oh, don't go to Mexico. Somebody got shot on the beach. Like they're kidnapping Americans here. You have to show like what if I'm coming from another country to see a FIFA game? In my head, I'm gonna be like, what if ICE comes up to me and they don't believe that I'm here for the FIFA Cup and I end up in jail for 4 months or days or years? Nobody's taking that chance.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And it's probably not the best time. I mean,
no.
I'm not sure. I have some study abroad situations that I'm looking way closer into now. Like,
well, yeah, you're a flight attendant, so you can do that. Geez, I'm glad to now know you. Maybe it's always good to know a flight attendant.
it's a fun little gig.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, you get to travel and all that. So yeah, I mean, this is great. It's called cognitive dissonance host. This is something that all maggots are victims of. Yeah.
I actually just studied that term last night.
Oh, really? Well, give us the definition of that then, please.
Well, it's just basically like the detachment of what you believe. Like you are finding it very hard to believe what you're seeing and what is actually happening.
Right.
You have a hard time believing that these people are terrorizing this country or
right.
bullying or they are doing things you think these are just buzzwords and that the liberals are just throwing these mean words at these people at this administration, and that's not what's happening. It's not a side thing here. Somebody's doing something very bad.
And this is a great point. Driving away is one thing. Trying to run over an officer to drive away is wrong too. So I think this is what interesting is this. People, one side is saying, oh, she was trying to get away. The other one's saying she was run him over. It's just the facts is she didn't run him over. He got out of the way. But I think this is what's hard. People trying to run over an officer, that it's not exactly what happened, but also that is not, first of all, they're not police officers and they don't have the right to execute you for doing that. And I think that's the hard part. Like, and why would you want to live in a country where they had the right to execute you on a very bad day and you drove off on the cops? I'm sure there's some rich people who've done that all the time, drunk, didn't want a DUI and drove off. I've seen that where they followed this woman all the way to her house. Her mirror was taken out. She had like 4 cars, had her kid in the car.
They're hunting.
Yeah,
they're hunting.
They're literally hunting. And I think that's the thing. This woman, she was white. She was drunk. She drove away. They followed her to her house. What I don't understand and why people don't agree with this, if she's driving away, why not let her go? They have her license plate. Go pick her up later for whatever crime you're charging her for.
There could have been a number of outcomes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she was shot in the face, correct?
3 times.
Exactly.
Which is why 3.
So how do
we know maybe that first shot he was in front of the car, but we all can see the other 2. He's clearly on the side, and then also anybody with 2 legs would have been able to get out of the way of that car.
And I mean, I'm no law enforcement and a number of I'm not a number of things.
Right.
But I do feel like if I needed to disable a vehicle while I have a weapon, I would know what to do without the person's head being caught in the crossfire.
Exactly. Yeah, no, anybody could have gotten out of the way and just, whoa, oh, she almost hit me. I'm not going to kill her. Right. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Sam, our own president is racist and people. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about that. Trump. I mean, people say he's not racist.
When people say that, I have heard that a lot. I've heard a lot. That's not racist. He's not racist. Blah, blah, blah. My question is, for that person that says that, define racism for me. What is racist to you? Because I don't think people understand what racism is, which is how they can
micro racism can be.
That's not racist, or he's not a racist, or he like. I don't really think there's a lot of white people who understand what racism is.
No, they don't. Because a lot of them don't want to. That word, when we hear it, it's like, oh, don't call me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you called that?
It is a very bad word to call a white person.
But it's but the thing is, it's just then that means you have to go do the work. You know what I mean? But a lot of white people are so terrified of it's, this and that. But at the end of the day, it's because they don't have black friends. It's because they don't have Latino friends. It's because they don't have gay friends. It's because they don't have Asian friends. It's because they don't have Indian friends. Like if you have friends of all different cultures, you hear, like we've been talking today, we hear your experience of leaving a store and not buying anything and having people watch you leave. That's something that white people, by and large, they don't experience. Now they're going to say, oh, I've had that happen, just so they can make their experience similar to yours.
Right.
But if you really can come to the table, but it's really hard for people to understand and open their mind up enough to be able to say, yes, it's different. It doesn't affect my life. It only makes things better the more woke you are. The irony. Well, I really appreciate you today, Keenan. Be great. I got to go pick up my kids. But is there anything you wanted to say in closing?
I just want to thank you for having me. For the viewers, thanks for engaging with me, having a little fun with me. I would love if you guys go and follow my TikTok, the same name, Keenan Be Great.
Yeah.
And let's get into some things. I'm always down to talk culture. I'm always down to talk politics and even health and wellness. Let's hit me up.
Exactly. Yep. What do you say? Righties will talk about their free speech and then get mad when somebody actually tries to protect it. Yeah, that's facts. Man, you're awesome. I had a great day with you, and let's talk again soon.
For sure. Definitely.
Thanks, Keenan. All right. Peace, man.
See ya.
All right, guys, this has been Samson's World, where court, comedy, culture, and your world collide. Thanks for everybody in the feed. Y'all dumb ASF. Thank you, Frank Henderson. You're so sweet for saying that. Have a great day, bro. Wishing you guys the best. Secret Service Sam out. Samson for president of the
Can you freestyle rap at all?
Not yet.
Doesn't it appear to be extremely coincidental that you guys arrest people right outside of Governor Newsom's press conference? Is this really just a show of power?